Guys, it's early.
We got to do this for football.
I know.
Football, you kidding me? Let's go.
Rick, have you made your gambling picks for the day? Is gambling legal in Colorado yet?
Yeah, it's legal. It's legal out here. I have not made my picks yet, but I have been looking at the board. And a couple of games that I'm liking right now. Clearly San Francisco at the New York Jets. Although
or any points for the Niners. They have nobody.
But they have Kyle Shanahan and Raheem Mostert and a good offensive line. And they're going to be up early. And although Richard Sherman and Greg Kittle are out for San Francisco, not to mention all right, P. Smithers.
What happened?
I'm still here. Just keep talking.
Yeah,
but your computer died.
But the Jets are an absolute train wreck of a franchise. Of course, that leads me to believe somehow everyone doubts them, so they're going to win. But no, they're too bad for that to even happen. Jamison Crowder, the number one receiver, is out. Le'Veon Bell out. Peace. Adam Gase is incompetent, idiot, Drader. So give me San Fran at the Jets -7.
How many weeks do you think Le'Veon Bell is going to be out for?
I'm going to buy half point. 3 weeks at least. He's on the IR.
I was going to say the rest of his career. He's clearly washed.
I feel like he's going to have a couple weeks this year.
No, he's not.
Oh, yeah, he probably won't.
Ever since he sat out that season with the Steelers, he's been not the same.
It's because he signed with the Jets. That was the biggest mistake ever.
It's not just that. It's just like think about walking away from football for an entire year and coming back and just thinking like, oh, everything's the same. No, you're older now and you're learning a brand new system. And I don't know. Big
Ben looked good. He walked away from football for a year.
Yeah, that's true. But he never really relied on his athleticism as much as just being huge, if you will.
He's the man. I love Big Ben.
Yeah, that rapist is the man. He's great.
Well, I forgot about that.
I forgot about that too.
Forgot about that. Wow.
I didn't, and I won't.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to root for guys like Tyreek Hill or Kareem Hunt. Like, it's just hard for me to watch them.
Forgot about that too.
I stopped drafting guys like that on my fantasy team just because they're such huge pieces of shit. I don't want to see them succeed.
What about like fantasy baseball? Would you draft Addison Russell?
Well, no, because he stinks.
Yeah, he's not even in the league.
No, he went to play in Korea.
I meant more like last year when he was playing.
I know what you mean, and I wanted them to cut bait with him years ago.
Yeah.
So, back to the football picks though.
Yeah, what's your pick?
I absolutely love the Rams going to Philly. 1.5 point dogs. I think they win this outright. The money line's at +110. That means you get 110% of whatever you bet if you win, and I love that pick. You got an afternoon game for Rick?
Lane Johnson's back, and so is Miles Sanders. So that should help. I mean, also they should help that they're not playing never mind. They're playing a defensive line that's better than Washington's. Holy shit. Aaron Donald is going to explode the offensive line for the Eagles. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah. I do have an afternoon game as well, which is lost right now. I got two, actually. So I think that the Ravens, even though they're 7-point favorites over the Texans, I think the Texans are a train wreck right now. And I think the Ravens are going to go in there and just blow their doors off. Like, Harbaugh has zero interest in just easing up. He just wants to blow people out. So I love the Ravens, even though they're getting 7 points. Give me that all day.
Looks like they got 7.5 here too. 7.5 or 7 is what the line.
That's the other thing. You got a line shot, man. You got to know who's giving you the best odds and who's taking the smallest vig.
Wait, who's paying like 315 today?
Well, the Ravens,
25. Kansas City,
Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, Chargers, and Cardinals, and the Washington football team. Which is still funny to me.
I forgive my wife because she scheduled a 4:00 photo shoot. We didn't get any photos because she gave birth 6 weeks early. Yeah. So we're doing photos today, and I'm just like, not on football day, but
like Saturday would have been better for that.
All my players are at noon today, and then I have Kamara playing on Monday, so I should be good.
Okay. I'm pretty excited for that Sunday night game too, the Seahawks and the Patriots. I want to see what Cam Newton does when he's trying to keep up with a very high-powered offense.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think that Cam can keep that one close, but he can't win it.
Football.
Mr. Unlimited. Did you see that video?
Yes. I mean, that was from a few years ago, but still.
It was from a few years ago and it resurfaced this year?
Just like, well, somebody found it and posted it on Twitter again, and they were like, hey, remember this shit?
Yeah, and
we were like, ooh, yeah.
His girlfriend was in the room, or wife, or whatever. I can't believe she let that shit happen. I'd be
Ciara,
like, yo,
dude,
babe.
she's probably more famous than, well, probably not more famous than him anymore, but for a while she was.
I'm surprised she wasn't like, yo, babe, turn that shit off. You look like an idiot.
Yeah. Yo, you're lame.
Yeah.
So you're going to get pictures taken?
Yeah. Are
you in these pictures, or are they just?
Of course.
Okay.
Got Moose with a little bandana too. He's going to be in them.
Put a bow tie on him.
Might have to.
Have you ever, like when you're carrying Nolan, have you ever just like bonked his head on something?
No, I always think about that though.
I bonked Max's head this week.
Did you?
And I wanted to go play in traffic.
Were you half awake?
No, I was fully awake. I just, like, I'm a monster of a person.
Yeah.
I'm just too big. I'm just too big for anything.
Yeah, you're the worst.
So
I monster like that too.
Bonked his head on a ceiling fan.
Oh,
a ceiling fan?
It was not on.
Did you like pick him up or something?
So like I hold him against my shoulder.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll start to slip. So I just kind of like pick him up.
Oh.
And I just bonked his head right off the ceiling fan.
The top of it. Like his head just hit the top of the fan. Right?
No, so there's like a light that comes down.
Oh.
Yeah. I wished at that point that I was dead.
What did he just initially?
He cried for like a couple minutes and completely forgot about it. Doesn't care at all. But now every time I look at him, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
What if that was his first memory? Like,
oh God,
for whatever weird reason, your kid had a first memory at like.
Well, he probably.
Do your parents tell you stories of like? So my mom's so my sister's 2 years older than me. And she went to go like change laundry in the other room and left me on the dresser and told my sister. I was probably 1.
You rolled off the dresser?
I rolled off the dresser.
Oh, geez.
And so now I know what my mom probably felt like, but also it's been a running joke that the only reason that I'm any good at math is because I fell off the dresser as a child and it just like knocked it into my head.
Mine was pretty bad because I had heart surgery when I was a couple months old. And the day I got home from the hospital, my oldest sister, Eileen, I was wrapped up. I was swaddled in a blanket on my mom's bed, and my sister just full speed runs in and does a full like cannonball onto the bed on top of me. Supposedly, well, I don't remember it, but my mom was freaking out.
Yeah, mine was. I think I was like 2 or 3 though, so that wasn't like a baby thing, but we had those old antique dressers and we had one of those giant TVs on top of it, and we could.
Old paint chips that you would just pick off
and eat. But we were too short to turn the TV on, so we pulled out the drawers and we're standing in the drawers, me and my sister, and all of a sudden the whole counter and the TV both fell on me and my sister, and my mom came in and was like, "Oh shit!" Oh, God. And those TVs were fucking heavy back in the day.
I used to go to a lot of those Ravinia concerts, like Beach Boys and Hootie and the Blowfish. And this was when I was in high school, and my best friend's mom would take us. She loved that kind of music, and we were just like, yeah, we'll go. We'll walk around. And she was there with her friend, and all of a sudden she gets a call from her husband. I guess like they had a huge fish tank, and their like 4-year-old kid pulled it down on top of him.
God.
And it like broke, and like he was in the hospital, and she was drinking all night. Like this was towards the end of the concert, and
that'll sober you up real quick.
She had to leave to go to the hospital. I'm like, oh my God.
Nightmare.
Kids are a nightmare.
But this conversation does make me feel better about myself because I just gave him a little mark on his head.
Shit happens.
Oh, he's a mark?
Fall on him yet?
He's got a mark on his head?
Well, not anymore. He did for like a couple minutes.
Okay, he had like one of those little.
I don't feel as bad. He's still in the hospital, but I'm going to see him later today.
His skull's caved in, but he's fine.
Yeah, his Looney Tune bump all the way to the top. Boop.
All right, so I have not listened to this voicemail. We did get one. I need to do this while I update our stream info on Twitch because Mark left it as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
We can talk about Tony Hawk again.
What?
I don't know how that works with StreamYards.
Oh. Okay.
Like when you do it on Streamlabs,
But hold on, don't blame it on me. You were actually the last one to.
Is that why it says Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
Then you didn't change it to Avengers.
Yes, I did.
Well, that's not my fault. That's Twitch's fault because it should be Avengers technically.
This is.
I digress for both of you guys.
On a scale of 1 to 10, since you are the pro at dodging any blame for anything, how good of a job did Mark do right there?
I think I'd say 7.3. I mean, he at least gave you something to think about.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna hit play on this voicemail and go fix our stream info.
Chumps, it's the old pal Uncle Kyle again.
I love how he calls himself Uncle Kyle.
It's been a hot minute, but like I haven't been able to think of anything really pertinent or anything like that. But I finally thought of a good question for you guys. So there's this meme going on the internet. You've probably seen it where they hold up. They'll have two pictures where it's like the movie villain and the actual villain or something like that. So what's an example, and this may be a stretch, but what's an example of a movie who got the villain wrong or got the hero wrong? So for example, Home Alone 2, like the Wet Bandits were the movie villain, but the actual villain was obviously Kevin's mom for being, for gross negligence.
Yeah.
So just something to think about. Love you guys. Thanks for all the work. Thanks for all you do. And I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Uncle Kyle.
That's a good question. Also a tough question. We got to think of a movie that also has a real villain, but also like someone that didn't get blamed for something that they should have been blamed for.
Oh, I initially thought he was asking, like what was a movie from, like Bane, for example, in Batman Forever was completely depicted wrong. But I get what he's saying now.
I have an answer. Batman. He easily could take his billions of dollars and fix Gotham City. Instead, he just goes around and beats up people with mental health issues.
Or actually just kill the Joker.
That too. Yeah, I think Batman is the true villain of those movies.
Batman could technically build like
homeless shelters,
really high tech fucking prison, 12.
Look at you. No, you automatically default to let's put people in cages instead of let's actually help people.
You need to put the Joker in a cage though.
No, you kill him.
He could build something to restrain him, but he doesn't. He's just like, yeah, send him to Arkham. He'll be fine there.
Yeah, he'll be out in a week again, and then I'll have something to do. I won't be bored on Saturday night. That's it. Batman is a piece of shit.
Yeah, this is tough. I'm thinking like
I'm having like so many movies run through my head, but then out but the other head. I'm so what? Does that even make any sense? No.
No. How many heads do you have, Brick?
He's got me. I have too many heads. I have 2 heads at least.
I could also make an argument for Dumbledore.
Yeah.
In the Harry Potter movies, because he basically just doesn't tell Harry anything, and if he told him everything from the beginning, then he probably would have been fine. He fails to mention until the very end, like, ooh, the prophecy says you're supposed to die, buddy.
Whoopsie. Minor details.
I would have to say maybe the mom from Home Alone. She just left Kevin there.
Wasn't that Kyle's example?
That's what he just said. Yeah, you freaking idiot.
Okay.
It was like perfect. That was his one example.
Look at Mark. He's like, no, I got a really good one, guys. I thought of it all on my own just now.
I couldn't hear it for the most part. I got a better one.
I got one. I got one.
Uncle Dudeass from Willy Wonka.
It's
grandpa.
It's not his fault.
He's not an uncle. He's a grandpa. What?
Grandpa Charlie?
Yeah. No,
not Grandpa Charlie. Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe. Yeah. He's the worst, man.
He is definitely the worst, but he's not the reason why. Like Willy Wonka,
the villain though.
Factory.
Yeah, but he is the villain though because he's a piece of shit.
He's the reason why Charlie wanted that ticket so bad because they're so poor because Uncle Joe is a piece of shit.
Grandpa Joe, and there's like 4 people in that bed, so it's a lot of pieces of shit. I don't think it's
tough times out there.
Oh, fuck, I had another one too.
I got one.
Great minds think alike, by the way, with Kyle, because I didn't hear that.
So it doesn't matter. I got one. Honestly, people forget about this, but Kevin's mom from Home Alone. The most negligent of parents. I just thought of this. I didn't hear it twice.
I don't know how you thought of that.
Dude,
Brilliant move. Honestly, who couldn't think of that one? If you didn't, seriously.
I do. I mean, it's a good question. The obvious answer is probably Tony Stark in Iron Man, the first Iron Man, because that's the whole point of the movie. Like, he realizes that he was a piece of shit making all these weapons, that they were falling into the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go for it.
I actually have one though. The people who made Jurassic Park, and then people just keep getting killed. They're like, you know what? I think we figured it out this time, people. Let's bring them back in. Let's bring all the people back in. This is the sixth installment. Come on, people. Tragedy after tragedy strikes at Jurassic Park again. It's like, all right.
I was reading a thread on Reddit. I think they were talking about Jurassic World. So like the newest of the new sequels, or the oldest of the new sequels, I should say.
Sure.
They were talking about that dinosaur that they crossbred and is just an absolute monster. And it was like, hey, like we could just check his tracking device to see if he's still in his cage instead of going in there to check.
Yeah.
Because he can camouflage himself and shit. And yeah, just like the ultimate stupid move. Oh, why didn't we think of that first before we released all these fucking dinosaurs on this island to eat these people?
You know what? Yeah, I need to go see for myself if that dinosaur is in there. It camouflages? No. I'll be able to. I got a good eye. Let me go in there.
I got a good one.
Ian Machine is in the chat. He says Donnie Wahlberg in Saw 2. I don't
remember that.
The Saw movies for me are like the newer James Bond movies where they all run together, and I can't differentiate plots.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it the house? I thought
Was he
like
a detective in that?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I haven't seen that one in forever.
Movie came out, I think.
Fair enough.
I need to go back and rewatch those because I've only seen like Saw 5.
You probably don't. Okay, so he says it was the best Saw. His son was trapped inside in the nerve gas. Okay, so
at the end, it was revealed the game happened days earlier.
Oh, yeah. So all the videos that they were seeing and shit were like pre-recorded instead of...
The Saw guy basically Oceaned 11 him.
Yeah.
The first
I'm very curious to see what Chris Rock is going to do with this new Saw movie. I think that's going to be really interesting, and he's going to star in it. I also saw he's going to be in Fargo, the new season of Fargo. Brick, you watched Fargo, right?
I loved Fargo. Oh, don't you know? I loved Fargo. A lot of murder.
Flashback.
That was the best impression.
Period piece. And I think Chris Rock is like the lead in it.
I got another one. Home Alone 2. Mom leaves Kevin again.
Okay.
Hold on. No. I actually do. Blank Check. All right. Let's talk about Blank Check for a second. You guys remember that movie?
When that woman who's a pedophile?
Yeah. That. And then Preston, the little 11-year-old kid, gets hit on the bike, gets the blank check. So his parents just let him go and work at this old man's place, Mr. McIntosh, when they've never seen him before. They've never met him. They're completely fine with him just going over his house every single day.
Different times, man. Different times.
What the fuck?
How is that different than
what the fuck?
Than making your son be like an altar boy?
Yeah. And then there was that one chick. Yeah, she's definitely kind of had some pedo vibes.
Oh, dude. That 11-year-old banged that weird chick who was just hanging out with.
Did it happen, you think?
Well, I mean,
the
implication is
one
there.
Can dream.
Jesus. This is going off the rails real fast.
Blank Check is great, though. That was a great movie growing up. Like all the shit he gets to play with when he goes shopping and he gets all the video games. He gets those giant boxing gloves and like the ring and shit. The sumo ring, too.
I mean, that was the allure of all the, like, you remember those shows? Toys R Us would do like you win a shopping spree, and anything you can fit in your cart, you got to have. So obviously you just go straight to the video game aisle and just take fucking everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the dream when you were a kid, because you didn't have to worry about shit like a virus or paying a mortgage and bonking your kid on the head.
Mr. McIntosh.
Let's move this along, shall we?
News to us.
Good question, though.
Boys, we got some trailers. Brick, I sent you the trailer for The Mandalorian, and you told me that it made your little pee-pee move a little bit.
Just a tad. It's made mainly Pedro Pascal's voice because it's very smooth and awesome. And I didn't finish the first season, but this trailer gave me chills and made me want to go back and finish it.
I don't know how you didn't finish the first season.
I don't know either.
Just recently finish it?
No, I finished it right off the bat.
Okay. I loved it. And there's plenty of lore drops in this trailer. I saw a Tusken Raider in there just kind of hanging out in the desert, watching his ships fly overhead. There's some X-Wings in there that look like they're not very friendly to a bounty hunter. There's some more weird alien shit. There's like a boxing match, but they have laser axes and shit.
Is that lore? Or is
if that is lore, it's over my
canon?
head. But it's really weird in Star Wars because all the stuff before the prequels came out, like there was an expanded universe, there were books and comics and all that shit, and there's still comics now. But basically, the people in charge of Star Wars came out and said, "Oh, we're going to retcon all of that," and they selectively keep weird things, and they'll put it in like Clone Wars or something, and just throw it in there and be like, "Oh, we decided we want to keep this because we liked it."
Do they do that for callbacks for like the people that read the books, so they could be like, "Oh, this is kind of paying off now that I read the books and they're actually putting this in the movie."
I think that they're just so successful with it in terms of revenue that they can basically just do whatever the fuck they want. I think a less successful franchise wouldn't be able to do something like that, and they'd have to actually stick to what they said in the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a Jedi in here. Apparently, this is played by a wrestler by the name of Sasha Banks. They do like a short cut to a hooded figure in an alley, and then the classic, somebody walks by and that person disappears. Like the Jason Bourne thing.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
It's Jason Bourne.
Pretty much got whatever you want here. The effects, of course, look gorgeous. This is coming to Disney Plus at the end of October, which is kind of a weird time because you would think more spooky Halloween stuff. But
yeah, I'm surprised they didn't push it back till winter, like when all the Star Wars.
They could have moved it up, probably.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only reason why I kept Disney Plus. Well, I did sign up for the yearly membership because I thought there would be more to it, but there really hasn't been.
There's been some decent stuff. I like the new Muppet Show.
I haven't watched that. I should watch that though.
I mean, it's not the old Muppet Show. It's not like Statler and Waldorf sitting up in the balcony yelling shit. That's probably my favorite thing ever. But you get Sam the Eagle was in there, my doppelganger, if you will.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't know how we ended up on Muppets.
They bring in celebrities, don't they?
Yeah.
Every episode.
The first episode
wasn't like Ellen DeGeneres in one. And speaking of her, why she hasn't made a statement yet either? She's kind of in the Crystalia boat right now.
No, she's made some statements. It's just nobody cares what she has to say.
Oh, she has. Okay.
She's probably just not a good person.
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there.
Kelly actually. Go ahead, Brick.
Is The Mandalorian going to be episodic, or is it they're going to drop like 3 and then maybe it's just gonna
one
be
a week?
One a week.
I got in this argument with Whoopi last night in that he's such a petulant child that have you seen all the people like review bombing The Boys just because everything didn't come out all at once like it did last year?
It's so stupid.
Really? That's what's happening?
Imagine being so fucking spoiled.
I know.
That you're just like, no, I don't want this anymore because it comes out weekly.
Do you forget like the days of Game of Thrones? Like
Seriously.
What it meant to wait and like have it on a Sunday. Now Fridays are even better, getting done with work. And I'm just like, yes, I can watch The Boys right now.
I forgot.
He identifies as a fucking Gen Z Zoomer, but he's old enough to remember TV and having to wait a week for shit to come out. Yeah. I digress. Brick, another trailer that I thought of you when I saw all these trailers except for The Mandalorian. Synchronic, starring Anthony Mackie. What'd you think?
Give me all of this. It's like spoon-fed my perfect like movie. It's time period piece. It's like a little bit mysterious because it's time travel and the guy's kind of going a little crazy and he's going back in time, but it kind of kills him at the same time, which we don't know. Mackie's looking good, dude. He's jumping up into a blockbuster actor pretty much after.
I mean, he did a season of Altered Carbon and it immediately got canceled. So
yeah, but I mean, in that he was also in that one Black Mirror episode. He was also he's getting his own, Captain America show. He's Captain America now in the franchise. I mean, that's the big one, obviously, but he's still getting a lot of main leads. And this one specifically looks amazing.
Altered Carbon. So I'm a fan of that.
I didn't watch Altered Carbon. That's probably why I don't have the bad taste in my mouth of Anthony Mackie, because I didn't watch that one. But I heard it was kind of meh.
Season 2 was kind of butt. Season 1 was awesome.
Who's directing the show? Or is it a movie? It's a movie.
This is a movie.
Iconic. What is it called?
Yes, Synchronic.
Synchronic.
It was some director. I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking on this. It was someone that I'm not familiar with, but people are like, "Oh, you got to look out for this director who's making and I'm just
sci-fi
like,
B movies." Okay.
Justin Benson is the guy's name. So I will pull up some details on him while you guys continue talking about this. So it looks like Anthony Mackie's character has cancer or something, and he's trying to find a way to go through time and fix it, or I don't know.
I didn't understand the trailer at all. I kind of got that B movie feeling from it. Like I have a feeling this won't be that great of a movie.
I think it's going to be better than Tenet.
That is such a low bar to clear.
No way.
That movie fucking sucked.
No way, dude.
The movie sucked, dude. Okay, so I'm looking at some of his filmography. He did, I don't recognize any of these. The Endless.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, The Endless, dude? Never heard of it.
Yeah, I know. You're not very believable in that aspect. I'm excited for this. It looks fun, I think, in that it's kind of that mind-bendy sci-fi type shit.
Fuck yeah, I'm all about that.
Let's be honest. When this comes out next month, there will be nothing else for us to watch, and we will definitely have to see this.
Black Widow's coming out pretty soon, isn't it?
I bet that gets pushed again.
Okay.
So let's skip around a little bit, because I had something in my notes for this show about how Warner Brothers is refusing basically to release detailed information on the box office for Tenet. I think that's absurd for a lot of reasons. One, because you have the overarching view, you know how much money it made in total, but they're not releasing like localized stats and talking about things like that, things of that nature. First of all, this was an extremely expensive movie to make. Everybody knows that. They crashed a 747 into a fucking building.
How many hundreds of millions?
I think the budget was 200 million.
Okay.
But then, so the general rule of thumb is that you take the budget and then you double it for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this case, you have to go even further because of the delays and everything. And like you had to keep running ads. I think that they're probably really hurting and they lost their asses on this movie.
Yeah, probably.
Because it sucked.
But so it made 9 million opening weekend, 6.5 last weekend. That's a pretty big drop off.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to lose their asses on this.
Do you think like the inverted Christopher Nolan is trying to go back to stop himself from making this movie?
I like to think that instead of Chris Nolan going back in time with a cure for coronavirus, that instead he would go back and try and fix this movie because he's that fucking selfish.
He passes the guy that ate the bat in China. He goes like further back just to stop himself from having this idea about the movie. Just like he sees the guy about to eat the bat, he's just like, I can't hold up. I need to get to myself.
No, I need to make sure that John David Washington has his lines. Yeah, that's what I like to think. Back to Synchronic though. This did get some early releases, and for what it's worth, take this with a grain of salt. But Rotten Tomatoes right now, it got early release to some critics, and it's got 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. It could be kind of fart sniffy if you think about it. You know, like the confusion of the time stream, et cetera, et cetera. So
wafting. I want all of that. Yes, please give me that fart sniffy. Fart sniffy time travel.
Next, what is it? Who's the doppelganger of Tom Hardy? That movie?
Upgrade.
Maybe it's the next Upgrade.
I can never remember the guy's name, but I always remember that movie because it's super underrated.
He's
Logan Marshall.
Tom Hardy.
Is that really his name? Wow. Okay.
Or Gray Trace. It's Logan Marshall Green. Logan Marshall Green. He's got two.
I was gonna say I thought he had 3 names. So yeah. Okay. Brick. Last trailer. Again, I saw this. I was telling Brick before we started. He's the only person where I watch a trailer and I'm like, yeah, Brick's gonna like this. I don't know why that is. I think it's just he's loud and boisterous, and I don't know.
I have a very specific feel for. You can kind of tell which movies. I'm a easy. If it's a period piece, if there's monsters involved, if there's a little humor, fucking lock me in for a good time.
Character development.
Maybe that's it. But
Lore.
Anyway, Love and Monsters. This is kind of an interesting concept. It's like a post kaiju world.
Yeah.
But the monsters are still kind of around. So they say it's 7 years after the day in which all these monsters kind of descended on Earth, killed most of humanity. And this teenager, I guess, he's probably like 19.
It's
He's
my
from,
only
like,
vibe.
Maze
Runner.
Maze Runner.
Maze Runner.
You know it.
I've never seen those movies. I have zero intention of it.
They're my guilty pleasure, dude.
Did Kelly make you watch them, or did you like read the book?
Kind of, but I was like, yo, let's watch Maze Runner 2 tonight.
Oh my god. Okay. Is he a good actor?
He's okay.
Okay. Was anybody in the
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Fine though.
So anyways, this guy's still trying to get some booty in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
He's basically tracking down this girl. I mean, this is a story as old as time. So
Yeah.
He's kind of a huge dork. And he honestly, a good parallel would be Huey and the Boys, where he's just thrust into a situation where he has to be tough and he has no idea how to be tough.
Yeah.
So Brick, what did you think?
This actually gave me a lot of the what's that Woody Harrelson movie with the Zombieland? This gave me a Zombieland vibe, but instead of zombies, it's just alien like monsters that we don't really know if there's just one specific kind of monster or if it's a bunch of different monsters. It's kind of still up in the air, which I like. Give me a little mystery to think about.
Trailer.
Yeah, I think so the trailer, like they do the reviews, you know, the one-line hits from critics and shit. They called it Lovecraftian, which makes sense. Like it's just a world full of monsters, and you have endless sources from which you can pull.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
It says 7 years after the monster apocalypse. Can you say that, Mark? Monster
7 years after Monster Apocalypse.
Say
The
post
monster apocalypse.
Post Monster Apocalypse.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Good.
I guess
It's just been this whole podcast is just us hiding your speech therapy so you can say words.
we've been phonetically training Mark to be able to say words properly, kind of.
Been getting better.
Good
I
word.
have been.
You have been. I'm proud of you.
This kind of reminds me of Never Ending Story. If you got older.
This podcast or
And-
this?
No.
Oh.
This podcast. This fucking trailer for Monsters in Love or whatever it's called. If he got older and the furry dragon thing that was like turned into a fucking
Falcor?
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me of that. Did he have like a little girlfriend he was trying to find in Never Ending Story? No.
I don't think so.
Did he have any love interest?
It's
like
probably
somebody
been
had a crush
25
on?
years since I've watched that. I have no fucking. I don't.
Well,
remember.
I'm going with it's kind of like
There was a princess. I do remember that.
okay, maybe yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I am kind of on the nose a little bit about that.
Does anyone still watch The Walking Dead?
No, I stopped at season 6.
Is
When
it-
got bad? Or
Is it bad
7.
that I still associate Merle with
Oh, yeah.
only The Walking Dead, even though he's been in a litany of other things?
Guardians?
He was the blue hillbilly in Guardians.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's in this too, still just being a hillbilly.
Mary Poppins.
It'd be nice if for once they give him a role where he's human and he doesn't have to be racist just because he has a southern accent.
I know, and it's like in this trailer, I was like, wait, are they gonna go down that route again?
I
You
bet
can't
they do.
tell. Yeah,
I bet they do. It's just like he's so typecast. It's fine.
like what are
He's
you?
great at it, though.
He's a good actor. Are you saying he's good at being racist or he's good at acting?
He's good at being that hateable character. Like he's able to pull it off. One of those like I don't want to call him an anti-hero, but he kind of was in because he had obviously bad past in Walking Dead, but also he kind of came through it sometimes. So it was like I don't know. Same thing with Guardians. He's like he was a villain kind of at first, then he kind of you learn to like him for some reason. I don't know what it is.
A little kid from Earth.
Yeah, exactly. He does bad things and he's a bad person, but also he does likable quality. He is like likable for some reason.
He just dabbles in human trafficking. Just dabbling.
Just a little bit.
Rick, have you been watching Lovecraft Country?
No. Should I watch it?
You should. It's really interesting. It's got some real fucked up storylines and some very cool new ideas. It is a period piece. But the news bullet here is Jonathon Majors, who's the main character. He plays Atticus. He is crushing it right now. And the news now is that he has been cast as Kang the Conqueror in the upcoming Ant-Man 3 threequel, I suppose you would call it. I love seeing that he's absolutely getting all this work right now. We saw him in The Five Bloods. He was that guy's son. He's jacked and swole as fuck here for that.
Yeah.
I know Mark's into it. You've been watching Lovecraft Country.
But does Kang the Conqueror ever take off his big like cloak thing?
It's not really a cloak thing. It's more like a bodysuit. It's kind of like Mr. Freeze.
Is it? It looked like it was fabric in the comics. Like he had a big like fabric belt across him, and it was kind of cloaky.
I guess it kind of depends on the iteration.
Yeah. Whatever. We need him shirtless though. We need his like purple body or his blue body, right? Purple or blue?
Okay. Yeah. I guarantee that you will see him shirtless at some point.
Nice.
Because he is just swole as fuck.
He's just shredded. No trouble.
Did I hear you say
I like it.
Did I hear you say threequel? So is this like a prequel to the first two Ant-Mans?
No, it's the third.
The third.
So it's just a trilogy.
Yeah, you could say it either
this
way.
singular movie though isn't a trilogy. It is the third in the trilogy.
Yeah, so obviously it's completing the trilogy. So where did you get this threequel? What does that even mean if it's not a prequel to it?
A sequel. It's the third sequel. It's the threequel, man. Since when is this a semantics podcast?
It is a semantics podcast since we've been a Fanatic podcast about 10 minutes ago.
All right, what is your theory about the quantum realm and how he's going to come back with like Ant-Man? Like, what do you think is going to happen? How is Kang the Conqueror going to enter the Marvel universe?
Sorry, my dog just grumbled at me really loudly. I think that he is a time traveler, right? So he's going to feel that Hank Pym and Scott Lang were fucking around with the time stream because they did. The Avengers went back in time. So I feel like that's going to draw him. He's going to kind of know, and then they're going to have to deal with it. There's no way that Scott Lang could beat Kang the Conqueror in some kind of battle by himself. So
I agree, and I hope because of that he will be a villain that will be in multiple movies in the Marvel universe.
I think you're probably right.
And I think they would have completely fucked up if they kill him off in just one movie.
So he's like 5 from Umbrella Academy, where he's like a time agent where people are fucking up the timeline. He like assassinates people, kind of like the Rick and Morty ballsack people.
He's from the future, right?
Well, he's just lives in time. Like he's not from a certain.
He jumps around, and doesn't he have a bunch of like futuristic guns and weapons and shit that he grabs?
Well, I guess it depends on the story, but he's just going to come and probably try and kill Scott Lang.
Okay.
So I don't know what they're going to do with this. I think you're right, though, but I think that they learned a very important lesson when they tried to kill Killmonger in Black Panther.
Yeah.
So like he's supposed to be dead, but now they're like, ooh, we probably should have kept him alive because people really liked him.
Yeah, you can't introduce a huge villain like that and kill him off and then think you did it right. You need to let him simmer for a couple movies.
I agree. I think that they absolutely should have left him alive, and it would be very smart in this case if it was kind of like the Thanos setup. You know, Thanos sent all of the big bad evil guys in Guardians, the first Guardians. So that was, you know, Ronan the Accuser was working for Thanos. It'd be smart if Kang sent like cronies.
Yeah.
And he was just in the background, you know, playing chess or whatever.
Because Kang fucks shit up.
Yeah, he's a
huge Marvel villain.
Yes, absolutely. He is somebody who is like galactic level threat on the same plane as Thanos. So
yeah. So I'm pumped for it. Good casting.
I mean, we're not going to get this movie for like at least 2 more years anyways. So what are you going to do? Mark, rest in peace, DCU.
It was on the horizon regardless, though.
We've been calling for this for 6 months.
Yeah. All right. So to our listeners and anyone out there that's semi-interested in what we're talking about, probably not, but DC Comics has that DC Universe streaming platform. And
poo.
Well, they had some successful shows. They had that Harley Quinn animated series, which got a lot of, lot of support from its fans.
It's been picked up for a third season. It's
Yeah.
going to HBO Max. Same thing with Doom Patrol.
So yep, essentially what's going to happen is all of their shows, I think Titans is going to get renewed for season 3. I don't know if they've confirmed it yet, but they have shows like Titans, Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn. All those are going to move over to HBO Max. Now DC Universe is becoming DC Infinite, which is just Marvel Unlimited pretty much. It's just going to be comic books.
Even the name is the same.
Yeah.
It's just a synonym.
I know. It's now, well, for their comics, what DC was doing is you would get all the old comics. You can read all the golden, silver age stuff. And they would release the new comics a year later. So that sounds like a long time, but like that's how long it usually takes, about 6 to 8 months for a graphic novel to get published, of like
a trade.
Yeah, a trade of a bunch of runs. So now they're saying we're going to do it only 6 months, which is like, all right, whatever.
That's what Marvel does.
Yeah,
6 months for Unlimited.
So it's not going to be on Roku anymore. They're taking it off. It's just going to be its own app.
That's
kind of like Marvel.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have to come to term agreements with a streaming stick.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't think was that bad of a deal, if you don't already have HBO Max or somebody's login, is if you have DC Universe before, I think you were paying like $7.99 or $6.99 or whatever. You're still paying that $7.99, but to add on HBO Max, it's an extra $5. And HBO Max in itself is $15. So you're still paying cheaper than just buying HBO Max, and you're getting both of these.
Okay.
So
but if you're not interested in the whole comics, then.
But it's like, I didn't understand that though. Why wouldn't you just sign up through this? You get HBO Max technically cheaper, and you get this with it too.
I don't know. Old people.
Yeah, you're paying only like $13 as opposed to $15, but who knows? There's probably something where I don't know.
I had super high hopes when they announced DC Universe, specifically for the actual comic backlog, because the way that they pitched it was like you would read comics on your TV, like you would hit a button, it would go panel to panel.
Yeah,
never used it once. Don't even know if it worked.
I don't like. I tried reading a comic on my TV. I can't do it. I have to have like an iPad or something, some tablet in front of me. Something
about it just doesn't lend itself to a big platform like that.
No, I agree.
All right, last bit of news. We have our future Jennifer Walters, the attorney by day, but giant green smashing monster by other part of day. Tatiana Maslany. She's best known for her work in Orphan Black. Never watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Never watched it. Don't know anything about her. Mostly, I just wanted to talk about this because everybody's just mad on Twitter about everything.
Yeah.
The most common thing that I saw about Tatiana Maslany was that she's not jacked enough to play She-Hulk, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because Bruce Banner is not jacked until he turns into the Hulk.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like he's a nerd. He's a nerd. He's not a giant jacked guy. He's not Thor.
It makes no sense.
He turns into the giant guy. Who fucking, like, this is a woman who's being cast in a role that
she's not jacked enough.
You have to fucking complain about something, don't you?
And meanwhile, Pattinson's like, I'm not getting jacked.
Yeah, meanwhile, Pattinson won't even go to the fucking gym. He's just doing Pilates and shit. Fucking dork.
Hey, real quick, Triple Deck says if you have cable, if you have HBO on cable, you get HBO Max. That's true. Like my parents have Xfinity. My question is, did they raise the price a little bit for HBO through cable providers now?
I have no clue.
I have no idea.
I haven't had cable in 8 years.
But yeah, you have to. I'm pissed because I tried doing like a workaround and getting the Xfinity app through Roku. Nothing works. You have to just log in like from a tablet or stream it from your computer, because Roku doesn't have the HBO Max app. It's so
they outsmarted you, man.
So stupid. All right, sorry. Back to She-Hulk though. Yeah, that's great news though that we're getting this.
I've been calling for it for years. I love the Charles Soule She-Hulk run. It's brilliant. It's more of a comedy type thing than Hulk is more serious.
Yeah.
But it does have its serious notes as well. I'm very excited for this. And this is going to be a Disney Plus show.
Hey, Brick, you listening?
Yeah, I am. I can hear you.
If you had to make up the origins for She-Hulk, what would they be? Just make them up right now. How does she become She-Hulk?
Bruce Banner fucks her as the Hulk, and the Come Insider creates She-Hulk.
They're related, so that's gross.
Well, that's gonna get weird then.
This is his origin story, Smithers. You fuck. Let him continue.
yeah.
What happened?
And in this one, they're not related, and also maybe they are though, because it's fucking
Alabama, it's fine.
Multiverse, yeah.
yeah. Also, Game of Thrones is popular, and that was the first episode they were fucking each other. So, whoops.
Is that what happened? Whoops.
That's what happens. Yeah, whoops.
That what Bruce Banner said the day after. Just
Well, he was in Hulk mode, so he didn't really know. He didn't really understand. It was just one of those rampages. Ooh, that was very rapey. But hey, DC likes to go dark, you know.
This is not
this
DC.
is Marvel. But, okay.
Oh, god damn it. I am absolutely shook to the core because I put in a fantasy waiver for Scotty Miller, and I wanted to put $2, but instead I put $21, which is a fifth of my money for the whole year. So I'm butthurt as shit. I'm butthurt as shit right now. But Scotty Miller has got to be the guy. So now I'm just like,
Mike, because he didn't want you to hear him screaming horrible obscenities.
Brick, I have a feeling that will pay off for you. I think you're going to have success with that bet.
For $20 for 20% of your budget, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's going to hurt a little bit. It's actually 21% of my budget. But at the same time, I think Scotty Miller is going to be worth the money. He'll be worth the money because Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, he likes those little white dudes that just like in the slot just can get points per reception. Plus Godwin's out this week. But 21, fuck!
That's what I'm going to start doing now. Is whenever we talk
Worst
I'm just
The
gonna
worst. She's the worst person in the world. Huge skank, terrible. But thank you.
I haven't heard this drop before.
Yeah, but nobody can hear what you're saying.
Oh, they can't? Okay.
Do you want to talk about the actual? Do you want to elaborate on She-Hulk's actual origin?
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She got a blood transfusion from the Hulk.
Oh.
That's it. She was like dying, and that was the only way she would survive.
I mean, Brick wasn't too far off.
Hey, well,
yeah. Let's move on.
Transition bodily fluids.
It's Jurassic Park.
Is it a play on word with Jurassic Park,
No,
or does it
just a Jurassic Park mug? $5 home goods. Pfft. Kidding me?
Great deal. Why were you in Home Goods
I was
by
gonna say,
yourself?
never took you as a home goods guy.
Yeah.
Nope, I was not in there by myself.
Okay. Which one of you idiots wants to claim Shia LeBouf?
I will. Brick, you gotta talk about being a heavier set 6-year-old football player.
Oh yeah.
All right. If you guys haven't seen this, I recommend you do so on our Instagram. But what happened was, I don't know, last week or whatever it was, they had a table read for Fast Times at Ridgemont High. If you've never seen Fast Times, you should go back and watch it right now.
Spicoli.
So we had Shia LeBeouf playing Spicoli, who is the big
Stoner
from Cali, whatever. That was originally played by Sean Penn, who was also in the table read. I don't know who he played, but seeing Sean Penn's reaction to a lot of the lines that Shia LeBeouf was doing, it was just fucking hilarious. But Shia LeBeouf literally sat in his car for this table read. Everyone was fine, but they weren't getting that into the character. He had these neon sunglasses on, like a tank top in his car, hotboxing the car, literally smoking weed in the car, just fucking blazed out of his mind doing this table read as Spicoli from Fast Times.
I like to add.
It was just so much, but not enough. It was so fucking great. I loved it.
I think he was the only one who actually memorized his lines too. That's what I heard.
He did. Yeah.
You know what? I do say what you want about Shia LeBeouf. I appreciate his dedication to his craft.
What a pro. What a pro.
Really just going full method acting, getting high as fuck.
The best part is when that scene where he's in the movie when they're in the car with Forrest Whitaker. It's like, my dad's gonna wait. Who says my dad's gonna kill me? Is that Forrest Whitaker? Right?
I don't remember
when they crashed the car. Whatever. I'm pretty sure it's Forrest Whitaker. He's the star football player. They fuck up the car. And he's like, I think it's his cousin. My cousin's gonna kill me. And Shia LaBeouf's like, dude, don't fucking worry about it. But Sean Penn's reaction is hilarious during this table read. because he puts a different spin on it. It's not like the Spicoli we saw in the 80s or whenever this movie came out.
He's just worthless and high instead of worthless high and a Cali bro.
It was more of like a millennial kind of high vibe, which is the way to do it. And are they going to remake this movie?
I don't think so.
You sure?
I don't know why they would, especially with this cast.
With Shia LeBeouf as Spicoli, they might now after seeing that.
Shia LeBeouf can no longer pass as a high school kid.
I don't know. He might be.
He's got full chest tattoos.
All he needs is he needs just makeup and I don't know. I feel like they could do it.
Though. No, they couldn't.
He does have full chest tattoos.
I wasn't gonna mention this, but we might as well. Did you see The Rock posting on his Instagram that he had to rip his gate off at his house? Like he has a security gate.
Yeah.
And he had to get to like an on-scene shoot. And something went wrong with the gate, and he called the gate repair people, and they couldn't be there for like 3 hours. And the entire production crew was waiting on him. So he just literally
ripped the gate,
hulked out and ripped the gate off the hinges.
Oh my God.
And took pictures of it.
He Black Adam'd it because he actually said in the post it was a Black Adam's here. Just like what a promo. What a pro at marketing. Brilliant.
So that's the thing. Like, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory, but do we believe this? I believe that he could. I don't know that I believe that he would do that.
I would. The Rock's not a liar.
Do we know that? I mean,
yeah.
He played a character in wrestling for years.
That's not lying. That's acting.
Okay. Now you sound like Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
He did to some extent. Maybe he like unscrewed it and then just didn't want to fully unscrew it and was just like, fuck it, I'm ripping it out. But it was already loose. I don't know.
Nah, he just did it because he's a badass.
If he was stuck somewhere and somebody had to rip a gate off to save me, I would want it to be The Rock.
I would want The Rock to save me from any circumstance.
Oh, I stubbed my toe.
Any circumstance of distress.
My hero.
Any SOS call, I want The Rock to come and save me.
All right, Brick, who's your best man alive?
I have a best 6-year-old footballer alive, but he's also built like a man, so he can be best man alive. Aiden Smith out in Texas. There was a viral video that went out where he is 5'1", 130 pounds, and everybody else on the field is 3'6", and he is just trucking people, just not getting tackled at all. I love this. As a kid, they did it by weight class, not by age. So if you were over a certain amount of weight, you couldn't actually run the ball, which was fucking bullshit. So this guy, if there was that, yeah, dude.
If try not to get kids killed, you're just mad that you didn't put up like a fucking all-star season.
Yeah, this could have been me. I could have been Aiden Smith, just putting out tutties after tutties, just running the ball, just crushing kids. It would have been fantastic. Anyway, I'm happy that this guy is able to run and use his skill, and you can't just be, someone to be a lineman, because that's fucking bullshit. So good for him. I love it. Aiden Smith, just trucking kids.
Okay.
Best man alive.
I got one more, and I can't tell if I need a ruling from the chumps. So Chuck E. Cheese has been fighting in bankruptcy for years, just because.
Oh no!
Obviously, no one wants to take their kids to a gross place covered in germs that.
With a pizza rat.
Sell pizzas.
I don't know why they wouldn't just do takeout Chuck E. Cheese pizza though.
Gross. Anyway,
yeah.
When you're in bankruptcy, basically that means that the court has to approve you spending any money at all. So like major outlays of cash have to go through the court and be approved. So they're trying to get the okay from a judge to spend $2 million to buy and destroy 7 billion prize tickets. The reasoning behind this is they say that if these tickets fell into the wrong hands, which is a direct quote, they would do much more financial damage because someone could just go to a Chuck E. Cheese and get all of the prizes.
Just get all the slinkies and bouncy balls. Like, imagine a world where all the slinkies and bouncy balls are bought up at Chuck E. Cheese, and those little thumb prison things, the finger prisons,
a Chinese finger trap.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I just can't imagine them thinking that they're going to lose money on a DVD player from like 2008.
They do have some pretty big prizes like that, don't they?
Yeah.
My God, you got to think about that. Like they might have like a Game Boy Advance still up there,
but it's not worth anything anymore.
Oh, man,
that's a sunk cost.
They might have like a some piggy banks, or I don't know.
Can you imagine being the guy who finds 7 billion Chuck E. Cheese tickets, though? Just like, what the fuck am I going to do with these? Apparently, they're just in shipping containers all over the place. And it's like, they said it was like 26 shipping containers worth of tickets.
Man, what would I do with it? I would get a like huge team together, and we would go to different Chuck E. Cheese's and just slowly, to avoid suspicion, slowly buy out all the big prizes.
I think that I would Scrooge McDucket. I'd like pour them into an Olympic-sized swimming pool and just swim through them. Because
they don't have cameras in Chuck E. Cheese. That's illegal. You can't videotape like little kids running around.
I don't think that that's true at all. I think you just 100% made that up.
Don't you need like consent to videotape little children?
Not on private property. You're not. First of all, stop saying it.
Weird.
Stop saying it like that.
It sounds weird.
It sounds very gross when you talk about it. I don't like it.
My thought is like, you can't just walk in with like 100,000 tickets and be like, yeah, I'm going to cash these in. They're going to be like, well, how'd you win them? So I don't know how you would play that.
What, you just completely pivoted off of not filming little children. I don't think that that's a thing.
I feel like
I accept the pivot
right now, trying to figure this out.
I think that
I think you have to do it little at a time. Little at a time. Here's a bunch. Oh, give me all the candy that you have, and then just like leave. Come back the next day. All the candy that you have. Guys, like, what the fuck?
Daffy's? No, I only want the grape and the green apple, please.
I will pay extra tickets. You tip the guy.
All
right.
These.
Let's move on.
Please.
Okay, if you heard that sound, you know that it's time for our weekly review. And this one's a little dark.
A little dark.
Very dark. We watched a movie this week on Netflix called The Devil All the Time. And boy, was it something else. So let's get the bullshit out of the way first. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, 66% from critics, 84% from fans, which I am very surprised by. I 100% thought this would be like a fart sniffer type.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was pandering to critics just because it's so dark. But this is directed by a guy named Antonio Campos. He actually did an episode of The Punisher as a director, and I don't recognize anything else that he's done. But it does kind of fit with that dark, mysterious type of vibe.
Yeah.
This is very much a gothic period piece in the South.
Brick period piece.
Extremely terrible things happen. I also wanted to mention this is produced by Jake Gyllenhaal and Randall Poster. The main selling point for this movie is the cast.
The cast is amazing.
We'll get into a little bit later. Oh boy, this is a perfect Netflix movie. If I had been sitting in a theater for this and I hadn't been able to like pause, get up and walk away.
I made it 2 different viewings in 2 different days.
I had to. Yeah. After the first 20 minutes, you're like, fuck, what am I getting myself into here?
Yeah.
But Mark, why don't you give me your thoughts?
Honestly, I didn't really mind it that much. I thought I was gonna.
What a ringing endorsement.
All right. Well, actually, let me phrase that better. I liked it more than I thought, like a lot more than I thought I would. I obviously love the cast in this. I thought Tom Holland really showed his versatility, like that he can play different roles. He's not just Spider-Man, which everyone knows him by. Like he can take on these different types of roles, and he did great. And seeing him just gunning cigs, smoking stans the whole time, I'm just like, yes.
It's very disconcerting to me. Like,
and I think those were real cigs. Those weren't like the herb cigarettes that all the actors used to smoke. I think
so. The next thing we see him in, he's gonna talk like this.
I think so. I think he's like, give me some Marlboro Reds. I'm gunning them. I'm gunning them right now. And he's just fucking ripping cigs the whole time. Great. Pattinson, whether you like it or not, Pattinson, I thought was just so. He was the not pastor,
preacher.
Preacher. He was the preacher. He was super creepy. Supposedly, I don't know if you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to give him more respect for this, but they were trying to give him like the dialect or accent lessons for this role because he's from the UK or whatever. And he said no. He's like, let me just figure it out. And I just thought his voice was like unique. It wasn't believable. He was supposed to be from Louisiana or somewhere down there.
He sounded off enough to be considered a foreign person from that specific area. Like he was like an outsider. and I thought that
That's the other thing, is that it's not just an accent. It's you got to be so over the top because you're trying to be a Southern Baptist preacher.
And I think he definitely played it off.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And Skarsgård, I was just hooked. Like it was extremely dark, but I found it interesting. I thought one thing that a lot of people will not notice is the score. I really like the score in it.
You're right. I didn't notice it at all.
I really like the score. I thought they have a lot of different moving pieces going on, but it all comes together at the end, and it's a little bit predictable. Like I kind of got where it was going, especially with Tom Holland at the end where he needed a ride. I was like, okay, I see what they're gonna do here.
At points, I felt it was a little disjointed, though.
They do the time skipping thing.
Yeah.
And they have an omniscient narrator. Like he knows.
I was just going to say
what people are walking into, but they used it so sparingly that it was almost jarring because they would go for 25 minutes without the narrator. And then he would jump in. You'd be like, oh, fuck, I forgot that guy was here.
Did that bother you though?
A little bit, but it wasn't enough to take me out of it.
I also really enjoyed the narration though parts. When
he had a really good voice.
Yeah.
And he gave you the right amount of information for a scene.
It had that feeling like it was like a book being told.
And it is. You know? This is based on a book by the same name, by a guy by the name of Donald Ray Pollock.
Okay.
So
I liked it more than I thought I was gonna, and I don't think I would watch this again, but I was pleasantly surprised at how this movie turned out.
It was
we did kind of skip over what the plot for this is. I don't know that we're definitely not going to spoil it, but essentially it follows Tom Holland's character Arvin from a baby, and it connects basically all the horrible things that have happened in this kid's life. And I know that you're going back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and everything was terrible back then. Everybody sucked, and you couldn't track down serial killers and shit. But the confluence of events that happen around him are all just horrible.
Yeah, and they're all kind of revolved around the deep faith that these towns have.
Yeah,
and I like
all of
it a lot.
Always stem from everyone having this deep faith.
Normally, someone else's faith.
Yes, his dad's, his sisters, like going to meet up with the preacher. Thinking that this is
weird
the best
serial killer guy.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention before Brick, that I'll let you get your thoughts out. Did Sebastian Stan put on some weight?
Oh, absolutely. I was like, how is he going to go back and ever play Winter Soldier again?
Yeah. I saw his cheeks and I was like, God damn, man.
I don't know. It's going to be hard to. You can't say that. I can't say the same because we have Pattinson, who was just like in the scene, his stomach was just like, whoa.
What was that?
He was pushing it out though, for sure. But still, yeah, I was like, oh God.
Okay.
God.
Brick, give me your thoughts on this movie.
I did like the setting behind it. I wasn't sure at the start because it's a small town in Ohio and a small town in like West Virginia. But I feel like those small tucked away towns really are like, they symbolize like the preacher, like the people are very religious in that time period and in like the smaller towns because they don't really know.
Because they don't have any other form of entertainment.
Exactly. And so there's like nothing to do. So they do kind of follow their religion aggressively, which led to a lot of the events that happened in the movie, because obviously all this religious backdrop of it. But I liked that all the characters in here were like, I think they did a really good job in the acting category. It was a little bit of a slow burn though, so it's very dark, very gritty. The acting was great, but slow burn. They had some
15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think that there are many lulls necessarily. It's just you get hit over the head repeatedly with the worst possible imagery or awful things happening to people who probably don't deserve it.
When you say slow burn, I would not categorize it as like a boring movie by any means though, because there is enough going on. There's enough of like the progression of Tom Holland and his character just becoming violent and just like saying, fuck this whole faith shit. I'm realizing everything that's bad happened to me is because of this. And he's like, I'm just going to do my own thing. And if people think it's for the good or not, then whatever. But
he does the John Wick thing where he's just like, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah.
And he has to go take care of business.
In the beginning too, it just kind of I mean, I thought it moved a little bit faster in the beginning. You get this quick background as to who Tom Holland's dad is and where he came from, and then how he met the wife, and then what happens to the wife, and then how he just is looking for anything to keep her alive, and it gets really fucked up.
We do have to do our solemn duty and warn people that there is a dog death.
Yeah, there is a bad one.
A very, very bad one. It's very jarring, and yeah.
There's a lot of shocking moments, but I was saying it's a slow burn in terms of what you saw from the trailer. You saw the coup de grace of Bill Skarsgard, and then like I thought there'd be more war flashbacks than there was based off of what the trailer had. Like, oh yeah, that's your daddy's gun from when he killed Hitler, or when that's the gun that killed Hitler. It's just, I don't know, just shit like that. I wanted a little more wartime backstory, but it really just goes from like 1945, which is the end of the war, and just kind of goes into the actual living life of Arvin.
Yeah. Can you imagine living in a time where your only entertainment was going to church once a week?
Yeah. And so many people that can murder other people and just get away with it.
And no wonder there were so many serial killers back then.
Yeah. Well,
you come back from a war and you're just bored out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And you've already been killing people for, no reason.
I had a really hard time looking at Bill Skarsgård and not seeing Pennywise.
I know, it's hard. His eyes are just like so deep in his face.
He's got googly eyes.
Yeah. His one eye can just go wherever.
Hello, Georgie.
I mean, the acting in this is stellar. I don't know that anybody will get any recognition for it just because it was so dark. To me, this was almost Tarantino level of gore, but it almost reached the point of being macabre for being macabre's sake. Like, just over the top, as violent and gross as you could be.
Were you surprised at the aggression that Tom Holland showed?
No.
And displayed? Like when he beat this shit out of those kids, I was like, God damn.
I mean, if you think about the reasoning why, it kind of made sense.
But still, you have to put on a pretty good performance to be able to display that.
No,
and make
I
it
think he's
believable.
got that in
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man. Yeah, of course. He's got the fight choreography down.
It's not that. It's just like
his facial
he like
expressions.
enjoyed beating the shit out of those guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it's fuck for what it's worth, for what it is. I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
They crossed the line a couple times. I don't know. For me, for that reason, I have to say that this is a save it for me.
What did they cross the line with? You don't have to spoil it, but like give me hints.
The dog was for sure.
Okay, like those. Okay, cross the line with things like that.
You know what else comes to mind is the scene where Tom Holland goes into the church to confront Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
Just the conversation that they have is so unsettling.
Yeah.
That was very gross. Like I paused it at that point to go get something to drink or something. And it was the line was, and if you've seen this, you'll recognize it was, did she puke?
Yeah.
And at that point I was like, oh, yeah, come on.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Darian? What's up, Darian?
What up, Darian?
Thanks for joining, man. A long time. Any final thoughts on this before we move on, Brick?
One little note I'd like to add was Chris Evans was actually supposed to play the sheriff of Sebastian Stan, but then conflict of interest in terms of scheduling, I guess they switched it over to Sebastian Stan.
I don't know if I could have pictured him being that big of a piece of shit.
Yeah, I like Sebastian Stan in that role, honestly.
He was a big piece of shit in Knives Out. He just didn't kill a lot of people.
Yeah, but he was just like a preppy kind of guy. He wasn't like psycho, you know? I'm sure that he could have pulled it off. I'm having trouble picturing it. Brick, what's your rating for this?
Because of the lack of content out there, if you want a dark, gritty movie, I would say see it.
You know what? Fuck, you're probably right. And you have to be in a certain mood for this to actually pay off.
Yeah,
you have to be. I would recommend before you watch this, go watch some cartoons, something real light, and then after maybe cleanse your palate with some cartoons or something.
But I don't know. You have to be in the mood too. The cartoons doesn't really allow that to happen. Maybe watch cartoons afterwards. Like when you see a scary movie, you're just like, all right, I need something a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Did you rate this, Mark?
I'm gonna say see it.
Okay. I think maybe we're all three see it's then.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this guy playing with the crowd. All of a sudden, he can't make his own decisions.
I'm a sucker for peer pressure, man.
Okay.
All right. let's do our recommendations for the week. I will kick this off because Archer is back.
Oh,
and
shit.
It completely flew under the radar for me. I saw a couple trailers and stuff, but I didn't expect it. And they dropped 2 episodes this week. If you've been following, you know that they've been doing kind of this different setting, different setting for every season, like where one was a crime noir, one was a space setting, kind of like Alien. And basically, Archer, the main character, has been in a coma for all these seasons, and now he's supposedly awake. I think maybe they could possibly throw the MacGuffin at you and say, no, this is also a coma dream. But all the characters are there. They're, Archer's coming in fucking stuff up in both ways, in the badass way and also ruining things. So absolutely go check that out. If you have Hulu, you can get all FXX shows on Hulu now. They have some kind of partnership. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Cool. I'll go. Mine is Netflix's Challenger: The Final Flight. If you're not of like our age, kind of, you might not know about this if you're younger, because I remember in school they actually kind of like talked about this and taught you about this.
Well, this was before we were born, though, right? Yeah.
So it happened in the late 80s. Basically, the NASA they had this whole program where they brought in like a teacher and all these people of different occupations, and it was a cool thing, a teacher's going to space, and they trained them and did all that stuff, and they actually had success with it at first, and then they had this Challenger flight take off, and it did not go as planned, and they kind of investigated what happened, and should they have gone knowing that there may have been some things that weren't being said about how dangerous it was, and maybe some fears of what might happen. But it's definitely interesting, and I love learning about like space and NASA. I always think that stuff is pretty cool. So this situation is not cool, but if you want to learn about a disaster that happened, a tragic thing that happened in our history, then I would go check it out. It's on Netflix right now.
So this happened January 28th of 1986. So that was before I was born. Yeah. Brick, you got a recommendation?
I have been ripping the New Frontier in Civ 6, and it is fucking dope. In the first expansion, they added weather storms and other natural disasters. In this new one, they added the Bermuda Triangle and secret societies, which is sick. So now we can just find the Illuminati by doing certain things in the map, and all of a sudden you have a secret society in your little civilization. Sick. I love it.
I know you're from Chicago because you said the Illuminati pizza at the same time.
My second recommendation, Illuminati's pizza. Shit is so good.
They will ship across the country.
Yes, they will.
Illuminati's.
I've also been playing a little bit of Avengers on PS4. I streamed about 2 hours of it Wednesday night because I made the horrible mistake of saying that if we didn't play D&D this week, that I was just going to roll dice on camera for 2 hours. Yes, stupid me. Fate intervened and said, now you have to stream something. So I'm going to try and do some more of that, but we'll see. The first two, they do like this setup where it's like, here's all the buttons you have to use, which was boring as fuck in the stream, I'm sure. But I tried to throw in some character history and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Darian asked in the chat, when are we dropping the bomb designs Mark's been sharing? Yeah, so I'm making, we're going to put out some fall winter beanies, some knitted caps, and they will be dropping October 1st. It looks like they're going to be exclusively on the Upmerch website. We're going to get our own store made for it. There will be it's all the same design, but they're going to be on different color hats, which I won't disclose yet. But they are exclusive. I think we're only running this sale for a few days. So any listeners out there, if you're looking for a new beanie for the frigid winter that is upon us very soon, go check out our store that we're going to be dropping for these beanies.
All right, pretty sweet looking. Peeled. Are we playing D&D this week?
I don't know. It's supposedly Will can't play, so.
But Joe said it was fine to play without him.
Yeah, we should be able to, unless somebody else backs out. Then it probably won't happen.
I have no fucking idea anymore. It's really sad because I love D&D so much.
I know you're super depressed.
Okay, maybe I'll just. if we don't stream, maybe I'll start working on my Fast and Furious one-off.
That might be good because you're gonna have to put a lot of time into that.
I know.
So
I'm thinking what I do is I find somebody else's one shot and just like take the story and completely convert it somehow. I'll have to pre-make the characters obviously and randomly assign them.
So you're going with the Fast and Furious, not the Dragon Ball Z thing, right? I didn't know what one
Dragon Ball Z.
Go with.
That one's already. There's a lot of those campaigns already made out there, but I feel like since we talked about Fast and Furious, that I should probably focus on. I don't know. We'll see.
Is Bert going to be invited? I don't know. We might only be able to do remote within the state. So sorry, Bert. Yeah,
makes sense. Wait, so
I think it's a time zone thing where I just don't.
Yeah, time zone.
Yeah, I don't think it'd work out.
All right, so let's get the bullshit out of the way and go watch some football. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode 213.
We just got 2 more viewers right now. We're out of here. Sorry, guys.
Hey, man, we've been at it for an hour. I don't know what to tell you.
Football? You kidding me?
You can follow us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can call or text us at 847-920-6107. I guess until next time.
Jumps out, motherfuckers. Please.
Ciao. Ciao.